Hi, everyone. Coach Sullivan here again with MJS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you. And non-subscribers, I'm really hoping to tease you into pushing that button. This past fall is my 38th year coaching football and as a defensive coordinator, but over that time I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I want to talk to you about how versus the inside veer triple option, how we defend against what we call simply slots kicking the corner, crack block, okay, cracking on the safety, and the slot tells us that. Okay, so in the diagram I have a quarterback's under center, but it can be done out of the shotgun as well. And I'm only going to draw it up in one direction, but it's mirrored on both sides, so it's the exact same if they ran the option to our right, okay? Over here will be the key terms, and then here I will show you how we defend against the slot kick in the corner, which means the receiver's crack blocking the safety, right? Because we're giving them a too high look. So the first key term itself is inside veer, triple, which means B to C gap is the dive, C to a tight D gap is the quarterback, and then D gap all the way to the sideline is the pitch. Okay? So part of understanding how we defend against the crack block and the inside veer is how we cancel out the dive, making it a double option, quarterback pitch. And we just play base 3-4 defense to accomplish that. So non-subscribers, you got to push that button. Subscribers, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So the next key term is tackle, play, slide, slot. Play, side, slots key. Excuse me, like Sally sells seashells, right? All right, so the coverage is gray 4. So these guys are all reading surface to 2, just as they always do. That's why tackle, play, side, slot. I'm not going to get into any other aspects of the blocking scheme as they are all sifting up to second level, trying to cut off pursuit, and they're cut blocking defensive linemen. Okay? Here is number 1, the dive key. Number 2 outside is the pitch key. Okay? So the tackle, right? The surface. That is the only part of the surface that our guys read. Okay? When it's pass, he shows the hi-hat. We all know. Even if it's turn back because it's sprint out, it's still a hi-hat. He's not sifting up the second level. What the tackle does, what's meant by arc or veer, the tackle arc is he outside releases, veer, he inside releases. Either way to get up to the inside linebacker. Typically, when the guard's uncovered like he is versus our 3-4, tackle arc releases. Okay? That's what that means. And again, sift, they work their way up to second level to cut off the pursuit. All right? So the play side slot block in this presentation is, okay, so A is the slot, A here is the pitch back, B is the dive back, quarterback, wide receiver, wide receiver. The slot is going to try and kick out and cut the corner. And when that happens, the wide receiver is trying to crack block the safety. Okay, so that's why number 3, wide receiver crack block the safety. And so you got to teach your players. Sometimes they tip their hand by the split of the wide receiver. If he cuts his split down, they should be screaming crack immediately. And I'll show you what we do when that happens. Okay? But and it's a very different look. It's not eyes up on the safety as he's 1, 2, 3 arc releasing. His eyes are literally out at the corner. So you got to teach your outside linebackers the difference. His shoulders kind of remain parallel to line of scrimmage as his eyes stay up on the safety when he's going to arc, versus in this block, his eyes and his shoulders and everything are straight to the sideline. So when our outside linebacker sees that, he knows he's feathering the quarterback, which means his feet are hot and he ain't moving. He's staying square. He's not committing. Okay, because remember, we're going to cancel out the dive, and I'm going to show you that when we get to the diagram. The cornerback, I'm going to show you how we teach him to avoid toward the pitchback, which means that way, upfield. Okay, not on our side of line of scrimmage, toward the offense. And the safety has a rule. You either beat it or you're going to patch over the crack block. So if they don't cut down their splits, he can beat it. When they cut their splits down, he's going to patch over and he's going to be given a hot crack call, and I'll go over that with you in the presentation. Okay? So those are the key terms. So let's now bring it to life, and I'm going to utilize green for the offense and black for the defense. Okay? So if the wide receiver takes a normal split, okay, so right now, when everybody sees the slot running at the corner, and the corner's going to read it, and he's going to be screaming crack, the safety can just scream downhill and beat it. He's only 8 yards deep. But what we give, okay, for a cut down split is if the wide receiver, okay, is inside of 10 yards from the tackle, right? So figure ball in the middle of the field, wide receiver on the top of the numbers. He now is splitting, hashing the numbers. Crack alert, crack alert, crack alert. And they may not do it on both sides, so they only worry about your side. If you give a crack alert and you don't, that's because he didn't cut his split down. Okay? Does that make sense? So when you get the crack alert, he's already at 4 yards. He doesn't need to necessarily move up, but he's got his eye on that, and he is kind of got a little bit of a head start. But again, here's first, because if this is a hi-hat, pass is being screamed by the secondary. He's sifting. Now they're screaming crack, and they're reacting. Okay? So how do we cancel out the dive? Let's start with that, right? Dive backs typically heading outside leg of the guard, makes a B gap, right? Well, in our base 3-4, our defensive ends, pressure key, visual key, they're taking that little read step, and they're the B gap defenders. That's how it cancels it out, just playing his base technique that's part of his everyday drills. Boom, done. He is a 51 technique, right? So non-subscribers push the button, which means he's playing over the top of any type of the tackle block anyway, whether he arc or veer releases. Yeah, okay. So we'll say he arc releases, shuffle, shuffle, patch over, shuffle, shuffle, patch over, have your hands ready to defeat a cut attempt. Okay, so we're going to go skip the outside linebacker for a minute. Okay, and I forgot to do this in black. My bad. So, right? There we go. My apologies. So now, right, we get this screaming crack, screaming crack. So the slot's kicking out the corner. Wide receiver is working to try and crack block the safety. Okay, this is working to the backfield shoulder, the pitchback, we say. So work toward the pitchback, which is over there. That's protecting the sideline. Okay, and then replace and keep going to the pitchback. Cornerback runs to the pitch. Okay, he comes down. If he can see in his peripheral vision the wide receiver, we say patch over. If you can't see him, beat it. You can see him, patch over, which is outside shoulder, and then come downhill. So Avoid toward the pitch back. Patch over means through the outside shoulder. Okay? Slot back can cut the corner. Wide receiver cannot block below the waist on your safety, at least not for us here or at the college level. Okay, so at least the safety knows that much. So that's what we teach the safety. If you could see in peripheral vision the wide receiver, you patch over. If you don't see him, beat it. Okay, beat it. Make it, give him something tangible. Peripheral vision is tangible, right? You can see it. Patch over. You don't see it, beat it. All right, and that's how we defend against the slot trying to kick the corner, which is the equivalent of a crack block on the safety. Okay? So as I said at the beginning to my subscribers, I say thank you. Non-subscribers, I hope I teased you into pushing the button. To everybody, you have questions, please reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com. I want to thank you for watching MJS Coaching Football, and I want to thank YouTube for providing this platform.